Hello and welcome to Writing Quest. My name is Brendan Pugh, and in today's episode, I'm going to walk you through how to use scene cards in Storybook Pro, which is our Notion template for outlining and world building your story. Here we go. All right, so we're jumping right into the computer here, and if you've watched our previous video about how to use Storybook Pro, you'll know we have a couple of sections. We're going to have the progress board, which this is left over from that video, what we did before. So you have, the different projects that you have in the different areas of production, basically. And then you have the outline section, which is where you work through the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 structure of your story. And down here you have the chapter outline section. And this is what we are going to be dealing with today. Now, I'm not going to go over all this, but as a quick refresher, when one of your books is in the chapter outline part here on the progress board, it now shows up in chapter outlines down here. And then you can go through each section of the 3-act story structure, so opening hook, inciting incident, build up, first plot point, etc. And then you can add as many chapters as you want within those sections. Now, this is what we are talking about today. So we have chapter 1, and then you have your characters and scene location, and those go to the world builder. This part over here is the scene card. Now, this is based off of Abby Emmons' scene cards, which if you haven't watched any of her videos, I highly encourage you to check them out. Very informative and very good. I've learned a lot from her in the past for sure. So basically, it's very simple. We'll just go through each part. So there's actually only 5 main parts to the scene card, and then I've added 2 different parts to the end. But the main parts are this. You have the setup of the scene, the tension, crossroads, decision, and the outcome. So before we get to those, I'm going to show you what else I added. So I have the goals for chapter. What I found when I was doing my outline for my book, I was kind of wanting a space to just write down, like, these are the things I'm trying to accomplish within the chapter. So I have this spot here for goals for the chapter, and it's just for notes. You just take some notes on, I want this character to talk to this character. I want this character to have this thing. I want to introduce this item. Just gives you a place to jot down those notes and brainstorm a little. Then we go over to the setup, and the setup is essentially the inciting incident, opening hook, build-up of the scene. It's the first part. It's where you're kind of just setting up what's going on. You're taking the information from the chapter that happened before, and you're giving a new context for this scene. That takes you into the tension. So basically this is where the buildup happens of the scene, where you start adding tension for the character on the things they're trying to do and accomplish. So they have the setup, which kind of tells you what they're trying to accomplish. And then the tension is the part that's pushing back against what they're trying to do. Ultimately, that's going to lead you to the crossroads, where what the character is trying to accomplish pushes against the tension to a point where they're going to have to make a decision. And the crossroads is where they have to make that decision. The crossroads, of course, leads into making the decision. So you have what is a decision, what are all the parts and pieces of that in the crossroads, and then you go to the actual decision of this is what they decide and this is what happens in the moment when they do decide. The decision then leads to the natural outcome of whatever that may be. And that is the combination of they asked a question, the question got answered, now what happens? It's the outro. So you have the setup, which is the intro, then you have the outcome, which is the outro. Which then finally means that you're asking a new question at the end of this scene going into the next scene. You're asking a new question on what your character needs or what your character is trying to do. And so it pushes you into the next scene. That's pretty much the gist of how the scene card flows, and it's really designed to just simply make it easier for your reader to be pulled through the story, to be pulled through the to really want to keep reading it, so that you're actually designing it as opposed to just simply writing it and hoping that it kind of works out. You're actually making deliberate decisions with the scene card of this is where we start, this is where we want to go, and this is how we get there in the middle. And basically how it works in our template Storybook Pro is you simply just add in the text field. So you have goals for the chapter. I always like to put little dashes there when I do goals for chapter, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. So a goal might be reveal new weapon, and then adding in the setup, you add the text there, text all the way through, and then you just do that for each chapter. And then you go to the next one, you add in chapters, go to the next one, add in more chapters, so on and so forth. It's really just text fields. And then in addition to Storybook Pro that I'm currently working on, all of this information that you're putting in the chapter outlines and in the outline part are going to compile into when you can actually pull up the information for writing. So that's something I'm working on for the future iterations of Storybook Pro, but that's on its way, coming soon. So that is how scene cards work in Storybook Pro. You don't have to break this up necessarily by chapters. You could just break it up by scenes, and it doesn't have to be one scene per chapter. You could add in multiple scenes, all that kind of thing. But I like to kind of structure my stories with kind of the one chapter is a scene. So a whole chapter is a scene. It just makes it easier for my brain to think about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you learned something. If you haven't picked up a copy of our Notion template Storybook Pro, I highly encourage you to do so. I think that it is a really great tool for writers, and it's a really great tool to help organize your story in a way that you can pull up the information in a way that's visible and easy to see, easy to organize, and easy to then pull into your writing. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Writing Quest. Huzzah!